There will come moments in life when silence will be your greatest power. When the world provokes you to react, stay calm. When they misunderstand you, stay still. When noise surrounds you, listen within. Silence is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the art of controlling your energy, your emotions, and your reactions. Those who can remain silent when their soul burns to respond are the ones who truly hold power. Because silence is not about saying nothing, it's about understanding everything. Today, I will show you why staying silent in certain moments can transform your life completely. The power of silence. Before we begin, take a deep breath. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Feel your body soften and let your mind arrive in this present moment. Most people speak to be heard, but the wise speak only when their words carry weight. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy under control. It is a form of mastery that very few possess. In a world that glorifies noise, the ability to remain silent is an act of strength. There are moments in life when your silence will protect you, heal you, and even elevate you. It will separate you from those who act from impulse and those who act from wisdom. The first situation to remain silent is when you are angry. When anger rises, your words become sharp like knives. They can wound, destroy trust, and cause regret. In moments of rage, your ego wants to win, but your soul wants peace. Learn to pause. Let the emotion settle before you speak. Silence in anger is not suppression, it is discipline. It is the awareness that words once spoken cannot be taken back. When you master silence in anger, you master your inner fire. You become untouchable by those who try to provoke you. The second situation is when others are gossiping. The weak find joy in speaking about others. The strong find growth in speaking about ideas. When you engage in gossip, you lower your energy. You align with confusion instead of clarity. So when gossip surrounds you, stay silent. Your silence will make the noisy feel uncomfortable because it reflects their emptiness. The wise do not speak behind backs. They speak through their presence. The third situation is when you do not have all the facts. Many people speak too soon. They assume, they judge, they react, and later realize they were wrong. Silence in uncertainty is a sign of maturity. It shows you understand that not everything requires your opinion. The truth will reveal itself with time, without your interference. When you are patient in silence, you give wisdom space to grow. The fourth situation is when your words will not create peace. Before speaking, ask yourself, will my words heal or harm? If what you are about to say cannot bring calm, stay silent. Silence in these moments is not avoidance. It is choosing harmony over chaos. Sometimes, silence is the only answer that cannot be twisted, the only truth that cannot be argued. Remember, the storm makes noise, but it is the calm sky that remains. Real power does not need to shout. The ocean does not explain its depth. It simply exists in stillness. Your silence can speak with a language only the wise understand. It says, I am aware, but I choose peace. That awareness is your strength. It is how you stay connected to your higher self, while the world around you loses balance. So hold your silence close. Use it as your armor in chaos and as your teacher in peace. In time, you will realize that silence is not a weakness. It is the sound of mastery, the discipline of stillness. The fifth situation when you must remain silent is when you are being misunderstood. In life, there will always be moments when people will twist your words, question your motives, and paint false pictures of who you are. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to explain, to prove your innocence. But sometimes, silence is the greatest response. Those who truly know you don't need an explanation, and those who don't will not believe one. Arguing with ignorance only drains your spirit. Let your actions speak louder than your words. The truth always reveals itself in time. You do not need to chase it or force it. Silence in misunderstanding is the mark of a wise mind. It shows that your peace is more important than being right in someone else's story. The sixth situation is when others doubt you. When people mock your dreams, laugh at your vision, or say you will never make it, stay silent. Let success become your reply. Silence in such moments is the sound of focus. When you stop arguing and start working, your results become undeniable. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your goals. The mountain doesn't announce it's growing. It simply rises until it touches the clouds. The same is true for you. The more they doubt, the more you must remain still and committed. For silence during doubt is not weakness. It is the fire of quiet determination. The seventh situation is when you are surrounded by negativity. Some people argue just to argue. They seek conflict, not truth. When you find yourself in the presence of such energy, silence becomes your protection. Do not allow their chaos to disturb your calm. You are not obligated to respond to every insult, every argument, or every provocation. Silence in the face of negativity shows strength. It says, I am in control of my energy. The one who stays silent cannot be manipulated by the noise of others. The eighth situation is when you are planning your next move. Silence during creation is essential. When you share your plans too soon, you invite energy that can interfere with their growth. Protect your vision like a seed. Let it grow in darkness before you reveal it to the light. Not everyone clapping for you wants to see you rise. Silence shields your dreams from jealousy, doubt, and interference. Remember, a flower does not bloom by announcing its process. It blooms quietly, and suddenly the world notices its beauty. The ninth and final situation is when you are in the presence of divine guidance, when your heart feels still, when you sense that something greater is speaking within you. In those moments, silence becomes sacred. It is no longer just the absence of sound, it is the presence of connection. You begin to hear the voice of wisdom that noise often drowns out. Through silence, you receive guidance. Through silence, you align with the flow of life. Most people pray for answers but never stop speaking long enough to listen. Learn to listen. To your soul, to the universe, to God. Every great awakening begins in silence. When you cultivate stillness, your inner world becomes clear. You will start to feel that peace is not something you search for outside. It is something you create within. And once you master the discipline of stillness, no amount of noise can shake your calm. The power hidden in silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy contained, power restrained, wisdom waiting. When you choose silence over reaction, you are not suppressing your strength, you are refining it. Most people believe that power is loud, that strength is shown through dominance or words. But true mastery is quiet. Think of water, it flows gently, yet it shapes mountains. Think of fire, it does not argue, yet it transforms everything it touches. Silence holds the same force. When you stop reacting to every noise around you, you start hearing the rhythm of life itself. You begin to move with intention instead of impulse. The person who can remain calm in chaos is the one who truly understands control. In silence, you begin to observe instead of absorb. You see through people's masks, their motives, their insecurities. You realize that many speak from pain, not from wisdom. And when you recognize that, you stop taking things personally. That is the hidden strength of silence. It frees you from emotional slavery. It teaches you that not every battle is worth your energy. The more you learn to be silent, the more you learn to conserve your power, because power scattered through constant reaction loses direction. But power held in silence grows sharper, stronger, more precise. When you are silent, you give yourself time to think clearly. You begin to see that silence is not avoidance, it's strategy. Every master warrior knows when to strike and when to stay still. The same rule applies to life. You do not always need to respond instantly. Sometimes, the best response is none at all. Let time reveal what words cannot. People often fear silence because it exposes truth. When you stop speaking, you are forced to listen to yourself, to your thoughts, to what truly matters. That's why silence feels uncomfortable for many. It strips away the illusion. But if you stay long enough in that silence, it becomes your sanctuary. You start to hear your inner guidance more clearly. You start to understand what your soul truly needs. Silence allows wisdom to surface. You begin to see the patterns in your life, the lessons behind the pain, the growth behind the chaos. Silence becomes the mirror where your soul reflects its truth. The more you practice it, the more centered you become. You will notice your reactions soften, your words become fewer but more meaningful. You will no longer waste energy convincing others, explaining yourself, or proving your worth. You will understand that peace is not found in being understood. It is found in understanding yourself. And when you carry that stillness within, the world cannot control you. You are no longer swayed by opinions, provoked by criticism, or disturbed by chaos. Silence gives birth to clarity, and clarity gives birth to purpose. The more you master silence, the more you master yourself. You begin to move with quiet confidence, like a mountain unmoved by the storm. People may misread your silence as weakness, but that is their illusion. Silence is the language of those who have transcended the need for validation. It is the voice of those who no longer chase noise, they command it. Remember, the lion does not roar to prove he is king. He simply walks, and the jungle makes way. When you carry silence with that kind of awareness, you become untouchable. Your presence speaks louder than your words. Your calm becomes your power. Your restraint becomes your weapon. This is the hidden wisdom of silence. When you no longer need to prove, you have already won the mastery of silence. When you reach the level of true mastery, silence becomes your greatest companion. You no longer speak to be heard. You speak only when your words carry meaning. You no longer react to every provocation. You choose your response with precision. This is the art of the wise, to know that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of control. When you are silent, you are not disengaged. You are deeply aware. You are listening beyond words, observing beyond appearances, understanding beyond judgment. The world may see stillness, but within that stillness you are moving with purpose. This is the point where silence transforms from discipline into power. Most people still chase noise. They want to argue, prove, correct, and control. But you, once you understand silence, realize that those who talk too much reveal their weakness. The more one speaks, the more one exposes what they fear, what they desire, and what they do not understand. Silence hides all of that. It guards your energy. It shields your peace. It turns you into a mystery that others cannot easily read. That mystery is not for arrogance. It is protection. Because not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your plans. Silence keeps your energy sacred. It prevents people from manipulating you with their opinions. The silent man or woman is untouchable because no one knows what they will do next. That is why masters are feared and respected. They do not reveal their power through words, but through presence. You will notice that when you begin to live in this way, the quality of your life changes. You stop explaining yourself. You stop reacting to gossip. You stop engaging in meaningless conversations. Instead, you listen, observe, and act when the time is right. You understand that silence is not weakness. It is wisdom in motion. It allows you to study your environment, understand human behavior, and align with divine timing. You begin to respond instead of react. You move with calm precision instead of chaotic emotion. That is what true strength looks like: quiet, steady, unshakable. In relationships, silence teaches you when to walk away instead of argue. In failure, it teaches you to reflect instead of complain. In success, it teaches you humility instead of pride. And in pain, it teaches you patience instead of despair. Silence is the teacher that never speaks but always reveals. When you master it, you no longer need validation, because your peace becomes your proof. People will sense your energy before you say a word. They will feel your calm, your certainty, your strength, and they will respect it even if they cannot understand it. The power of silence is that it speaks directly to the soul. It makes people stop and listen, not to you, but to themselves. And that is the highest form of influence, to awaken awareness in others without saying a single word. Remember, there are moments when silence can change everything. When anger rises, silence protects you. When ignorance provokes you, silence preserves your dignity. When truth is twisted, silence reveals it with time. And when life becomes too loud, silence reconnects you to the divine. This is the level of mastery you must seek, to live in such deep alignment with peace that no noise can disturb you. Speak when it adds value. Act when it brings change. But when it is time to be silent, let your silence be so powerful that it echoes louder than any voice. Because in the end, it is not the one who speaks the most who is wise. It is the one who knows when not to speak at all.